The courtroom was silent. Everyone was watching. The judge's voice was cold. "You are hereby sentenced to 10 years in prison for fraud and obstruction of justice." Mira's knees went weak. Her hands trembled. "No, this isn't right. I didn't do anything." Judge Halden slammed his gavel down with a smirk hidden beneath his wrinkled face. "Order! This woman is dangerous and has fooled enough people already." People gasped. Even the reporters dropped their pens. Mira's eyes welled up with tears, not from fear, but from rage. She stared at the judge, her lips tight, her mind racing. He thought she was simple, that she would panic, that she would break. But he didn't know her secret. He didn't know who she really was. He didn't know she was a genius. And as the guards grabbed her arms, Mira whispered to herself, "Game on." Cliffhanger. Why did the judge frame her? What will she do next? Build up, before it all fell apart. Just 2 months earlier, Mirabelle worked at a tiny bookstore in a sleepy town called Clayridge. She loved books, especially puzzles and mysteries. People thought she was shy, quiet, even a little odd. But Mira liked it that way. It kept them from asking too many questions. She lived a simple life reading, working, and visiting her grandma in a nearby care home. No one suspected the truth about her. Not her nosy landlord, Mr. Jenkins. Not the teenage boy next door who played loud music. Not even her boss, Mrs. Trent, who once called Mira sweet but kinda slow. And certainly not the judge who would soon become her enemy. The hidden past. What nobody knew was that Mira had finished law school when she was just 19. She had the highest score in the state bar exam. But after her mom died in a car accident caused by a powerful man who never faced justice, Mira left the world of law and vanished into a quiet life. She knew the system was broken, and she didn't want to be a part of it, until the system came after her. The day it all started. It began with a simple letter. Mira found it taped to her door. No return address, just her name in bold black ink. Inside was a court summons. She was being accused of forging legal documents. What? She had never signed anything in years, let alone fake anything. She went to the courthouse, heart pounding, thinking it must be a mistake. That's when she saw him, Judge Vincent Halden. Tall, proud, cold eyes. A judge known for being harsh on troublemakers and soft on the wealthy. Mira had seen him before, years ago. He was the one who had let the drunk driver who killed her mom walk free. And now, he was her judge? Something wasn't right. Her case moved too fast. She wasn't allowed to pick her own lawyer. Her court-appointed attorney, Mr. Crowley, never returned her calls. Evidence appeared from nowhere, emails she didn't write, forms she never touched. The trial lasted only 2 days. Mira tried to speak in court, but Judge Halden cut her off every time. Objection overruled. Stick to the questions. Don't waste the court's time. Then he slammed the gavel. Guilty. Low. Rock bottom. In the cell behind the courtroom, Mira sat alone. Tears slid down her cheeks. For the first time in years, she felt truly helpless. She had played small for so long, hiding her mind, avoiding attention, staying safe. But now, she realized that being invisible didn't make her safe. It made her a target. She replayed everything in her mind, the fake letters, The speed of the trial, the missing lawyer, the judge's smirk. No, this wasn't just corruption. It was a setup. Someone had planned this. Someone wanted her out of the way. And Judge Halden was at the center of it. Why? Hi. Her hidden weapon. That night, as the prison lights dimmed, Mira pulled out the small hairpin she had hidden in her braid. She bent it just right and twisted it into the lock on her cell's cabinet. Click! Inside was paper, a pen. She smiled. Everyone thought she was simple, but they had no idea what she was capable of. She began writing. Notes, diagrams, patterns. She remembered every detail of the court file, every false piece of evidence, every time Halden cut her off, every mistake he made. And then she remembered something. A name that popped up during her trial, Caleb Grant. He was a businessman who had just lost a big case. His company was about to be shut down because of a report Mira had helped a friend draft anonymously. Nobody knew she wrote it. Nobody. Except the judge. She paused. Her hand tightened around the pen. This wasn't random. This was revenge. Judge Halden didn't just pick her to punish. He picked her because she was a threat. And now, he thought he had won. But he had made one terrible mistake. He didn't know that Mira Bell, the simple bookstore girl, had a mind sharper than a blade. And she was going to make him pay. Cliffhanger. The escape begins. 3 nights later, Mira waited until the guard made his final check. She counted the seconds, just like she had studied in her logic books, just like the puzzle games she used to solve in minutes. The lock clicked open. She slipped into the hallway. If she was right, the security system had a 5-minute reboot at 3:17 a.m. Her timing had to be perfect. She raced down the corridor, heart pounding, footsteps silent, then freeze. A flashlight beam hit the wall beside her. A voice barked, "Hey, who's there?" She ducked behind a pillar, heart thumping in her throat. Footsteps, getting closer. She clenched her jaw. If she got caught, it was over. If she made it out, the real game would begin. And she had a secret plan that would shake the entire justice system. Let me know when you're ready for. The guard's flashlight beam bounced off the walls as he moved down the hall, closer and closer to where Mira was hiding. She pressed her body against the cold pillar, trying not to breathe too loud. 3 steps. 2. 1. The guard turned the other way. Mira counted to 10, then slipped through the door at the end of the hallway. She closed it softly behind her and found herself in the prison laundry room. The perfect place to change. She had planned this moment for days. She stole a uniform, hid it behind the dryer. Now, she slipped into it and tied her hair back under a cap. One last look in the mirror. She didn't look like Mira Bell anymore. She looked like just another worker on. The flash drive glowed blue in Mira's palm. She had just stolen it from the locked drawer of Judge Halden's private home office. The judge had left for his morning joggist, as she'd predicted. Everything was going according to plan. She didn't know exactly what was on the flash drive, but she had found it hidden behind a stack of papers, buried under fake IDs, forged signatures, and bank transfers and strange names. It was his trophy drawer. And now, it was his biggest mistake. Mira plugged the drive into her laptop and clicked the file labeled Clay Ridge Cleanup Audio. The sound was faint. Then a voice, Judge Halden's voice. "I want her erased. quietly. "I don't care what you have to do," another voice answered. "Even if she figures it out?" "If she figures it out," Halden sneered, "then she's smarter than I thought. But let's be real, she runs a bookstore." Mira froze. Her jaw clenched. She hit play again, and this time listened closely. The plan wasn't just to send her to prison. It was to silence her for good. And worse, it wasn't just the judge. There were more people involved. People with power, with money, with everything to lose. Cliffhanger. Mira's not just facing a crooked judge. She's fighting an entire network. Build up. The secret web. 2 days earlier, Mira had returned to her hidden safe house in the woods outside Clay Ridge. It was a cabin that once belonged to her unclear conspiracy theorist who no one ever took seriously. But his panic room and off-grid setup were exactly what she needed. She hung old bed sheets over the windows. She turned off all devices except her custom-built laptop, which she never connected to the internet. She wore gloves, wiped down everything, and checked twice for trackers. Because now, she knew. She wasn't just fighting a frame job. She was in the middle of something much bigger. The shadow behind Halden. The name Caleb Grant came up again and again in the audio files. He was a real estate developer, known for turning poor neighborhoods into luxury condos. Mira dug deeper, using offline archives. One report showed that Judge Halden had ruled in Grant's favor 16 times in the last 5-year Severy time, just before Grant bought a new property for cheap. Another file listed payments to shell companies in the Cayman Islands. Hidden, except for a small digital watermark VH. Vincent Halden. But what made Mira's stomach twist was a document titled Risk List. And her name was at the top, along with others. Names of people who had either filed complaints, given testimony, or written reports like her that had gotten in the way of their schemes. 5 of the names had the word cleared stamped next to them in red. Mira's name had one word: active. She wasn't just an enemy. She was a target. Lo, the safe house breach. That night, Mira awoke to a strange sound like gravel crunching under tires. She slipped out of bed, heart racing, and crawled to the floor. Through a slit in the sheet, she saw a car parked a few yards away. No lights on, just sitting there. She waited. 10 minutes passed. Then, a figure stepped out of the shadows. A man in black. No badge, no flashlight. Just calm, slow steps toward the cabin. Mira held her breath. He had found her. She checked her traps the fishing line alarm, the pressure switch under the step. If he got close enough, the cabin would tell her. But then, a branch snapped to the left. Another man. She wasn't facing one hunter. There were 2, maybe more. She grabbed her emergency satchel, slipped out the back, and ran. She didn't look back until she was deep in the woods. And when she did, the cabin was already on fire. Hi, an unexpected ally. 3 hours later, Mira was hiding inside an old church basement. She hadn't been there since she was a kid. She still remembered the faded cross, the cracked floor, and the smell of candle wax. It felt safe, for now, but she had no food, no gear, and no place left to go. She reached into her coat for the burner phone she had stolen 2 nights ago. Only one number had called it since. Blocked. She tapped redial. The voice that answered made her stop cold. "Are you okay?" Mira blinked. "Who is this?" "I'm the guy who tried to stop Halden from framing you. I'm the one who left the first letter on your door. You didn't recognize the handwriting, did you?" Mira's eyes widened. She had assumed the letter was from Halden's people part of the trap. But what if it had been a warning? The voice continued. "My name's Jason. I used to work for Halden. I know everything." "Then why are you helping me?" she asked, voice low. "Because they tried to kill me too." Mira stayed silent for a long time. Finally, she said, "Meet me in 1 hour, and if you're lying, I'll know." Jason replied, "Then I better not lie. Lo, the truth hurts." They met in an underground parking garage in an empty part of town. Jason was in his late 30s, nervous but alert. He handed Mira a folder. "This is the original witness list from your mom's case." Halden tampered with it. He removed the one man who saw the crash. The only person who could have proved the driver was drunk. Mira opened the folder and froze. The name was there, James Holloway, and scrawled next to it, "Do not call, works for Grant." Her stomach turned. They bought him off? Jason nodded. And when he refused to change his story, he vanished. Mira gripped the folder tighter. "This goes deeper than I thought." Jason leaned closer. "And if we're not careful, it'll swallow us whole." Cliffhanger. The trap turns back. Mira decided it was time to go on offense. She needed to break Halden's trust with Grant, turn them against each other. So she leaked a copy of the flash drive audio, but only the part where Halden talked about getting rid of the businessman. She sent it anonymously to Caleb Grant's private email. Then she waited. The next morning, her phone buzzed. A private newsfeed read, "Breaking. Real estate mogul Caleb Grant found dead in penthouse police. Call it a suicide." Mira's blood ran cold. She hadn't meant for anyone to die. But now, she had a new problem. Someone else had heard the recording. Someone faster. Someone more ruthless. And worse, they knew she was still alive. The courthouse was on fire. Smoke poured out of the windows. People screamed. Fire trucks blared down the street. Inside, someone had broken into Judge Halden's private chamber and left a folder on his desk. No fingerprints, no footprints. Just one piece of paper on top, in neat block letters. "How do you run a system when the system is watching you?" And beneath it, copies of every document Mira had found. The fake emails, the money trail, the hit list, all of it. Halden's hand shook as he read through the pages. His office door burst open. "Sir, Caleb Grant's death is making headlines. They're saying he was being blackmailed." Halden stared at the burning window. His voice was quiet, cold. "This is her." "Who?" "Mirabelle. But she's alive," he growled. And for the first time in years, Judge Halden felt fear. Cliffhanger. Mira just turned the hunter into the hunted. Build up. The master plan begins. 1 week earlier, Mira had escaped the burning safe house with only 2 things: her satchel and the flash drive. She had nothing else, no home, no family, no money. But she had one thing nobody could take: her mind. She knew she couldn't win by running. She had to turn the system against itself. So she made a plan. Step 1. Divide the enemy. Halden trusted his allies. If Mira made them fear each other, they'd start tearing themselves apart. Step 2. Feed the system. She gathered proof, real proof, data, witnesses, audio, video. Then she leaked small pieces to the media under different fake names. Just enough to spark questions. Just enough to plant doubt. Step 3. Appear as a ghost. Mira stayed off-grid, moving every night. Jason helped her contact 3 former law clerks who had once worked for Holden and had been quietly fired. All 3 had stories to tell, and Mira gave them a voice. Lo, the betrayal. Mira had just finished setting up a meeting with an honest reporter when she saw Jason again. He was pale, sweating, shaking. "They found me," he whispered. I think I led them to you." Mira's heart dropped. "How?" "They traced my burner. I don't know how. I thought it was clean." Suddenly, Mira's laptop lit up. An incoming connection? No, a hack. She shut it down in seconds, but the damage was done. Someone had traced her location. "They're coming," Mira said. Jason backed up. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." Mira stared hard at him. Something wasn't right. His voice trembled too much. His eyes darted, like he wasn't scared for her. He was scared of her. Then she noticed it. A red dot blinking in his coat pocket. A tracker. Jason hadn't been found. He had brought them. Hi, the Genius Gambit. They came fast 2 black SUVs, tinted windows, men in suits. Mira didn't run. She smiled, because she knew they were coming. She had let Jason find her. She had watched him sneak the tracker into his coat 3 nights ago, and she had led him to a trap. Beneath the cabin floor, just like her uncle taught her, was a pressure system linked to a timed gas release. Mira hit a switch as she dove into the cellar and sealed the hatch behind her. Above, the attackers burst in. Boom! The blast wasn't deadly just enough to blind, confuse, and scatter them. Mira escaped through the hidden tunnel and disappeared into the night. Jason? He survived. But now he was being hunted. Holden didn't tolerate failure. And Mira? She was already in the next city, preparing the final phase. Lo, the price of truth. The closer Mira got to the truth, the harder it hit her. She found out what really happened to the 5 people on the cleared list. All were silenced. 2 were missing. 1 had been framed, like her. Another had fallen from a rooftop. The 5th? Her own law professor, the one who helped her write the first report against Caleb Grant. She had thought he simply retired. He hadn't. He had been forced out, paid to disappear. Mira tracked him down. He lived in a tiny cabin by the sea, looking over his shoulder every day. "I should have warned you," he said. "You taught me to fight," Mira replied. "And now they'll try to destroy you too." She nodded. "Let them try." Hi. Entering the lion's den. Mira knew it was time. She walked into the state attorney's office, dressed like a delivery woman. She left an envelope on the secretary's desk marked, "To be opened by Judge Sarah Knox only." Judge Knox was known for being ruthless but fair. A woman who hated corruption even more than she hated liars. Inside the envelope, every piece of evidence, and a USB drive, with one final recording, the one Mira had been saving. It was from Holden's private phone recorded months ago. If anyone ever finds out about the grant money, we're done. That girl, Mirashi's the only one who saw the connection. If she speaks, we bury her. Mira slipped away into the rain as the office erupted in chaos. She had just handed them the weapon. Now she had to wait and hope they fired it. Cliffhanger. The final war begins. That night, Mira sat on a rooftop overlooking the city. Below, sirens echoed. The news flashed headlines. Judge under investigation for conspiracy and fraud. Anonymous source leaks files on corruption ring. Ghost of Clayridge haunts justice system. Mira's lips curved into a tired smile. But then, her phone buzzed. A message. Blocked number. Only 2 words. We found you. She turned slowly. And behind her was Judge Halden, standing in the shadows, face hard, eyes cold, and pointing a gun straight at her.